Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, January 18th, and I'm your host, Adeline Janed, filling in for Kristen McDonald. This weekend, we are expecting to welcome our first winter storm of the season. Winter Storm Harper is expected to make its way through the Norwood area Saturday night and continue to dump snow and ice throughout the day Sunday. For more on the storm, we go to DPW Superintendent Mark Ryan.
Hello everyone, Mark Ryan here. It's Thursday, January 17th, 2019. I'm down here in front of the salt shed at the Norwood Public Works Department at 1 Lyman Place. And behind me you see the shed that contains the salt that we use during a winter event. There's approximately 800 tons within this salt shed, and we anticipate during a regular storm we might use anywhere from 200 to 300 tons. This weekend there's a forecasted winter event on Saturday, January 19th into Sunday, January 20th. What we do know is the snow is going to start Saturday night, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, light snow, and then pick up in intensity in the early morning on Sunday. It starts to get a little bit questionable what's going to happen then. There's some forecasts saying it's going to get turn to rain, which it could, or stay snow. If it does stay snow, you can anticipate the snow is going to be very heavy in weight. If it stays snow, we're probably looking anywhere 6 to 8 inches. So that's the unknown, is what's going to happen during the day Sunday. And then later on Sunday, the temperatures are going to get very cold, in the teens Sunday night into Monday, Martin Luther King Day. So our advice to you is Saturday, go out and enjoy yourself. Go out, visit the restaurants, go to a show, go to the theater. You won't have a problem. Make sure you buy some salt on Saturday, because Sunday is going to be a big question mark. Stay indoors, enjoy the day. Later on in the day, we're going to see our New England Patriots face the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship. We'll all be ready. DPW will be taking care of the roads for you. Come Monday morning, everything will be all set. We hope you have a great week. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Remember everyone, if you need to travel on Saturday night or Sunday morning, to please take your time on the roads. If you were in the area of Norwood High School on Wednesday evening, you might have noticed some unusual activity on the hill. The school was used as a facility to run an active shooter drill for the Metropolitan Law Enforcement Council's SWAT team. This group pools resources to provide mutual aid to surrounding communities. The team used the floors throughout the school to practice procedures in the event of an active shooter emergency. Sergeant James Payne tells us more on the task that night.
Today we're doing active shooter drills. I'm a member of the Metropolitan Law Enforcement Council SWAT team. Right now we're doing an active shooter drill. We do training twice a month, tactics training, and we had the luxury and ability to use the Norwood High School today. Unfortunately, this time and age, we see it more and more. It's good to have the ability to use these high schools and these schools around these communities. So us as officers in these communities and as neighboring communities, we got a good format of how the high schools and then the schools look. So once we get in, and if we ever, God forbid, have to go to these calls, we'll know kind of where we're going and what we're doing.
Thank you, Sergeant Payne and your team, for all your hard work. Stay tuned after this break for an update from the police department and the fire department. Welcome back. Last week, the Norwood Fire Department learned that they would be recipients of not one, but 2 grants that are to be used towards fire safety and education. Chief Maurice tells us more.
I'd like to announce that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Department of Fire Services has recently awarded the Norwood Fire Department with a SAFE grant in the sum of $7,000. It's made up of 2 different grants, and the individual responsible for getting that grant money and who will be able to explain it to you is firefighter Paul Ronco, our SAFE firefighter.
Good morning. So again, we were fortunate enough here in Norwood to get one of the grants, one of the 250 cities and towns that were awarded grant money from the state Department of Fire Services. Has been issuing these grants for the last since 1996. So this is my 7th or 8th year doing the fire safety in the schools, and my 4th year dealing with the elderly population here in Norwood regarding fire safety. In the schools, I reach out to pre-K all the way up through 6th grade. We talk about important fire safety issues such as smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, fire escape plans in the home. With the Senior Safe Grant, which was just established probably about 4 or 5 years ago, the seniors, they are high risk when it comes to fire safety. There are mobility issues that might that put them in a higher risk than the normal population.
Thanks, Firefighter Ronco. We appreciate your efforts on keeping the community educated about fire safety. Earlier this month, the state 911 system announced that they are starting a text message to the 911 system. What this means is you will be able to send a text message to 911 and it will be received at the dispatch of your local police station. To learn more about this new system, we go to Chief Brooks.
Hi, this is Chief Bill Brooks of the Norwood Police Department. You may have heard that this month, State 911 announced the text to 911 capability in the 911 system. So what that means is that from your cell phone, you can text 911 with a message, and that text message will come into our police station if that happens while you're in Norwood. But the message we really want to get out is, call if you can, text if you can't. The whole purpose of texting 911 is for people who just cannot make a voice telephone call. If there was an intruder in your home and you were hiding in a closet, for instance, and you couldn't talk, you could text the police on your cell phone. If you're someone who can't talk on the phone because you have speech or hearing issues, you could use your cell phone and text us, and we would get that message. But really, we would rather hear from you. The dispatchers need to ask questions. They might need to clarify something. You might forget to put something in a message and they have a question. So really, the message is, call if you can, text if you can't. While we're on the topic of 911 and cell phones, I should probably mention that I announced to the selectmen a couple of months ago that we had joined a direct program, a 911 direct program, that allows you to call 911 from your cell phone and have that call answered here in Norwood. Prior to that, if you called 911 from a cell phone, the call always went to the state police. Now, if you have a phase 2 phone, that is a phone that has latitude and longitude, you can call from your cell phone, call 911, and that call should come here. I'll pass on another tip that came up with the selectmen the other night, and that was you should program into your cell phone a contact for Norwood Police with our business number, 781-440-5100 or 781-762-1212. And then all you really have to do is say, hey Siri, call Norwood Police. And that will cause the phone, as my phone's doing now, to dial the business number at the Norwood Police Department, and that way you'll always get us. And we answer those business phones just like we do emergency lines. So that might even be the safest thing to do. Program 911 into your phone, but then also program in our business line and the business lines for the surrounding towns. And then you can automatically make those calls, and that you'll be assured they'll be answered right here. If you have any questions, you can email me, you can send me a message. We're happy to answer it. And thanks for watching.
Thanks, Chief. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your local government.
I'm your host, Krista McDonald.
Thanks for joining me for another update.
It was a hard-fought battle at Murrayfield.
Everybody you know and you like and you pal around with and you hang out with is here.
Your home.
Your home.
Your home. Your home.
Your home.
for all things Norwood.
Welcome back to Norwood News. Tuesday was a busy day in town government with Board of Health, Cable Commission, Selectmen, and Zoning Board all meeting. In the morning, Board of Health met with a full agenda. To start the meeting, the board approved the minutes from their previous meeting, then Crushed Peppers, which is located on Broadway, appeared before the board.
You received a certified letter from the Board of Health?
Yes.
Okay. You understand why you're here? Do you want to tell me why you feel you're here?
Yes, there was some issues with the paper towels not being filled regularly, and the regularly scheduled pest control company stopped coming, which caused some problems.
Okay, we're talking about mice, paper towels, among other things.
Yeah, I think those were the two things.
Okay. Okay.
General sanitation issues.
General sanitation issues. Overall.
Crushed Peppers is scheduled for weekly check-ins with the board to ensure it is following all the health guidelines. Later in the meeting, the board discussed the Drug-Free Communities Grant and Impact Norwood. February 12th is the next scheduled Board of Health meeting. Tuesday night, charged with the task of selling the Forbes Hill property, the Board of Selectmen met to discuss the status of the vast estate.
Looks like we will need a little more time. We've got some recent good comments that we want town council to look into, real estate experts in the office of town council. This is not a simple transaction. We want to make sure we do it right, so we're doing that. Draft right now does have the price set at $11 million as a minimum price, but I want to, again, before we possibly hit the street with it, make sure that the board as a whole does agree with that.
I'd like to see us off of the property at $12 million at least.
Mr. Plasko, I think 11 million would be the better number. Let me put it to you this way. I think it stands to reason you will get more interest at 11 million than you will at 12.
So I'm willing to take the chance and go with the minimum bid of $12 million.
The Selectmen agreed to set the minimum sale price at $11 million after a motion for a $12 million sale price by Selectman Donahue failed 3-2. The next Selectmen's meeting will be Tuesday, January 22nd at 7 p.m. The Zoning Board of Appeals gathered in Memorial Hall of Town Hall to discuss 3 public hearings. One regarding 347 Everett Street, a continuation of the last public hearing on 862 to 878 Washington Street, and one hearing that drew an audience was the hearing for new construction to build a condo complex on 253 Manhattan Street. After a case made by attorney David Hearn, the public voiced feedback on proposal.
My wife and I both support the project. We've been looking for a townhouse in Norwood. There's not a lot of opportunities. This is pretty much an ideal site. We both commute to Boston. The proximity to the train and the bus line and the businesses in Norwood Center.
I think even though this property only has 19 units, I think the fact that there are 75 or 76 parking spots speaks to the point that it's not only the 19 units that has to be evaluated, but assuming 80% of those parking spots are filled, you're talking about 50 to 60 cars in that very small area. So even though the 19 units might not impact traffic, the fact that they have so many parking spaces would certainly, I would think, would certainly be a justification for requiring some kind of traffic study.
The board decided to continue the hearing to February 5th. On Wednesday afternoon, the Airport Commission met in their conference room at the Norwood Airport. On the agenda was a project update and a technical master plan update from Dubois and King. Later in the meeting, the Commission discussed the effects of the government shutdown on the airport. The patrol towers are still being operated regularly despite the shutdown. The Commission was informed that funding is only available through February, so measures will have to be taken if the shutdown extends past that time. The Commission will meet again in the upcoming weeks. Wednesday night, the school committee met at the Savage Center, and Dr. Margot Frazick made an appearance at this meeting. She provided feedback on all the potential program improvement plans for the Coakley Middle School. One of the issues discussed was Mustang Block, and the idea of the impact of eliminating it could be.
The other thing I hear a lot is to get rid of Mustang Block completely and add time. to each of the classes, so you have more time with each of the 4 classes, which is a possibility. But I want to be really clear that any domino you touch in a schedule, 12 knock over. And the minute you change the amount of time in every single block, that's going to change lunches, that's going to change passing time, it's just going to change everything, which is, it's fine. It takes a lot of work to make that happen, so something else might give. So when there were longer blocks, my understanding there was not a rotating schedule.
The discussion moved along to the budget, and as the deadline to meet a balanced budget with the current deficit draws closer, the committee began discussing what lies ahead, as some tough decisions likely would be made in the next coming weeks.
No one wants to do any of this, but if we are charged with balancing a budget, and I think that has to be something that we look at. And I think I wanted to start to have this conversation because these are going to be votes and conversations that are horrifying. And I wanted us to start to have a conversation as a committee, because we cannot talk offline, to start to have at least a week to process of what that's going to be.
To watch complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what's happening in our schools.
Hi, I'm Tom O'Rourke. I'm the president of the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce, located here in Norwood. We are a business organization of about 500 local businesses, and we believe that business can accomplish a lot more together than they can on their own. So we encourage local businesses to join us and let their voice be heard as part of the Chamber of Commerce. Our mission is to connect. We connect business to business, we connect business to the community, and we connect business to the local school systems. We work very closely with the local school systems to ensure that our future workforce is the best it can be, and that people who live in this area can work in this area and make a great life for themselves in the Neponset Valley region. So we encourage you to become a part of the Chamber if you're not today. You can learn more about us on our website, nvcc.com, or you can always call the office at 781-769-1126. We look forward to seeing you in the Neponset Valley.
You want to find out what's happening in Norwood this week? Tune in to Norwood News on Norwood Community Media, your home for all things Norwood.
Welcome back. Now let's toss it over to our friend Tim Rose to find out what is happening around the Norwood School District.
Hi guys, let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. Norwood High School held their 8th grade curriculum night and open house last Thursday. The night began with a meet and greet in the dining hall, and 8th graders learned about all the opportunities available to them at the high school. Athletics, performing arts, clubs, and activities were all represented. Students were then welcomed by Principal Dr. Hugh Galligan and learned about the school from Interim Vice Principal Cindy Durain and Head of Guidance Krista McDonald. Students then met their Mustang mentors and were provided tours of the school. It was a great way to learn all about the high school. Also in high school news was announced that Interim Vice Principal Cindy Durain was officially named Vice Principal of Norwood High School. Cindy has been a longtime teacher at NHS and received a standing ovation from the staff when it was announced at a faculty meeting. Congratulations and best of luck. At the Oldham School, the Tanglewood Marionettes performed their production of Perseus and Medusa. They are a nationally touring marionette theater that incorporates handcrafted marionettes, sets, lighting, and sound to create a fully immersive theatrical experience. 2 students, Sylvia Deeks and DJ Woolley, had the opportunity to go backstage to learn how marionettes are able to do their different movements. At the Coakley Middle School, one of the fun new activities is the Lego Club. At this club, students build meaningful relationships with peers through teamwork, practice critical thinking and problem-solving skills, as well as develop patience, attention, and focus. They are looking for donations of gently used Legos for their Lego engineers in the making. If you have any Legos, please contact Rosie Healy at rhealy@norwood.k12.ma.us or Eileen Siegel at esiegel@norwood.k12.ma.us to arrange to make a donation. Thanks from the Lego Club. Also at the Coakley, the Science Challenge class is reading the book Hoot. This is a young adult novel with a plot that involves burrowing owls. In addition to the book, they are comparing burrowing owls, which live in the ground, with barn owls. Barn owls have pellet fur balls that they cough up once they have consumed rodents that they have eaten. The students had to take apart the owl pellet, disclaimer, these are not real pellets, they are only simulated bones and fur, and then put the pieces together to create a skeleton of what animal the owl ate. Whew, yummy. Sounds like the book is a real hands-on experience for the students. At the Callahan School, it's been a very busy and active week. The after-school program for grades 4 and 5 is underway. Students participate in a variety of cooperative and competitive games where teamwork and sportsmanship are promoted. The school would like to thank Mr. Ferreira for running this program. Students and staff were entertained and educated by Wally from the Red Sox for an enrichment program known as Wally's Making Books Come Alive. Students and staff acted out stories with the Red Sox mascot. And we can't forget our Patriots. Students and staff wear Patriot gear before each big game. Go Pats! It's been an exciting and busy week at the Prescott. The Prescott PTO provided students with an exciting opportunity to hear from local author Nora Dooley. She shared some of her stories, talked about the writing process, and inspired many to keep on writing in school and beyond. Students asked fantastic questions and had a great time learning from this local treasure. Prescott students also engaged in classroom-based conversations about who they, the Prescott, are as a community. Students enjoyed talking about their backgrounds and some words that they could use to describe their teachers and peers. They created a bulletin board in the lobby to remind them of what they strive to be every day. Many themes revolved around hard work, inclusivity, love, and fun. These are constant reminders for all of us that we strive to create a community where everyone is loved, challenged, and has fun each and every day. Well, that's it for school news this week. I'm Tim Rose, and thanks for watching. Now let's go to Brian Dunn with sports news.
Thanks, Tim, and welcome to this week's Sports Update. Now, if you've been following the girls' basketball team closely, you know that last Tuesday's matchup versus Westwood was one everybody had marked on their calendar. Let's throw it down to the gym and catch you up on all the action.
And this one turned into an instant classic as two powerhouses of the Tri-Valley League went at it inside the Norwood gym. Westwood got out to an early lead in the first quarter, but the Mustangs would crawl back, much in large part to inside passing. And we'll jump ahead to the fourth quarter here where the drama unfolds. Allison Giambanco gets a shot inside to fall. That would cut the lead to 6 at the time being. And again, Norwood getting opportunities down the right side. You see Giambanco again getting one to fall, cutting the deficit closer and closer each time. And this is where it gets good for Norwood. A steal there. Getting caught was Westwood, and this is going to lead to a huge three-point play from Aaron Reen on the far side of the court. That cuts it just to 2 points. 41.7 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. Mustangs down by 2. Westwood with a slip up there, a chance to capitalize and put away the game. Great defense there by Aaron Reen. They eventually force a foul here. It's going to be a 1-on-1 shot with 15 seconds left. Still an opportunity for the Mustangs. Misses the free throw, and watch Aaron Reen here, scratching and clawing, gets the rebound and the foul. So she's going to have 2 shots to tie the game with 14 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Clutch free throw, she nails the first one. Now listen to this crowd erupt.
There was no medal on that shot, no. No medal on that shot at all.
That clutch free throw would force overtime in game 1. And Norwood really wouldn't look back as they took a couple early baskets, capitalizing on some inside passing. Good transition basketball from Coach Lepley's team and ball movement, as we discussed in last week's sports update. Once again prevalent. And a free throw here from Giambanco would pretty much ice it for the Mustangs. They improved to 10-0 and they clinched a tournament spot in the process. They beat Westwood by a final score of 51-46 in overtime. Moving on to the boys' matchup, taking place just a couple minutes later. Similar to how the girls' game started, Westwood would get off to an early lead, but the Mustangs would crawl back, much in large part to the three-point game. And the three ball was the hot hand of Dan Grasso. As you see here, he launches one down the left side. They would take the lead with that three-pointer. You can see Coach Oliver trying to calm his team down with the lead. And again, jumping ahead to the fourth quarter, the hot hand, Dan Grasso, launches another three. And Westwood, many opportunities to pull away with this one, but Norwood getting opportunities to call right back in it. And who else but Dan Grasso, the three-point shot, all the way down the top. 44 seconds left to go. That cuts the lead to 2. One possession game here. You can't fault Norwood for some great defense, but a great cutback move by the Westwood guard. And a great 20-foot shot that would put it out of reach, and the Wolverines would win 56-52. In a Tri-Valley matchup versus Norton, the Mustangs cruised to a 7-0 victory at the Foxborough Sports Center, led in large part off a hat trick from senior Joe Spadorska. The win improves their record to 3-3-2 overall, all of them being conference games. The girls' team has been on a roll in recent weeks as a victory over St. Peter Marion was complemented with a 4-2 win over Mansfield this past Wednesday, improving them to a 5-2-3 overall record. Gymnastics squared off in a home meet versus MADS. Tight matchup resulted in a slight edge in favor of the Mustangs, as Norwood comes away with the win 136.1 to 135.8. The wrestling squad put forth a good effort against the Barnstable Red Raiders in non-conference play, but ultimately fell by a score of 52-36. After a quick road stint, they returned home for a meet against Dedham on January 23rd. In co-ed swim and dive action, the Mustangs took on Ashland, and in a tightly contested affair, the Clockers took home the W 94-84. Continuing the action versus Ashland, the girls track team put forth a convincing win over the Clockers 55-31. Myra Hines, Olivia Bodette, Maren Giambanco, Madeline Berry, Vivica Cord, and Sada McLeod were all first-place winners in this meet. And the boys track also with a strong performance, beating Ashland by a 67-18 final. We throw it down to a sneak peek of Mark Hoover's interview with some of the members of the team on this week's Sports Extra.
Sullivan, to you, I know that you guys had a big win this past Friday against Ashland. Take us through a little bit of that. You're talking about improving. What do you see personally improving in terms of the team? To go from the beginning of the season to where you guys are now, just really taking it to Ashland recently.
Well, I think individually we're pretty strong, but I think we need to work on coming more together as a team. Because I feel like scoring points individually, that's easy, but working as a team, especially relays, that's the hard part.
Right. Is for those of you guys that have done Bay State and now Tri-Valley, is if you had to choose, I know it's still kind of early, Tim, to you as a senior, if you had to choose between the two leagues, do you like the Tri-Valley and the change that's been made?
Yeah, I definitely say Tri-Valley is an improvement on Bay State, because Bay State, what the major struggle was that a lot of the schools were way bigger than ours.
Yeah.
So they'd have 3 good players for every one strong runner that we had. And so basically the Tri-Valley, the schools are a little bit more on the lower side in terms of how many students go there. So we're definitely, it's a lot more competitive at the meets, and that's what makes it more fun. So I think definitely Tri-Valley is an improvement over Bay State for that reason.
Well, that's all for sports this week. For more sports news, you can follow NHS_Mustangs on Twitter and go to norwoodmustangs.com for scores and scheduling updates. Back to you, Adeline.
Thanks, Brian. It was a busy week at the Morrill Memorial Library. On Monday night, the library hosted one of their more popular speakers, Aaron Greenfield. Mr. Greenfield, who is now 92 years old, was born and spent his childhood years in Poland. As World War II began, the Nazis invaded his town, and most of his family was captured and eventually murdered at the hands of the Nazis. Greenfield, who owns Brenner's Children's Shop in downtown Norwood, relived all of these events to a packed room at the library. At the end of the presentation, Mr. Greenfield fielded questions from the residents that were in attendance. To watch the full presentation, tune into NCM Town Channel. Then on Thursday night, Impact Norwood hosted a speaker series called Demystifying the Teen Brain. The presentation was focused around the Kids Health Minds Initiative, which is a robust mental health awareness and community education program. The goal of the Kids Healthy Minds Initiative is to increase community awareness about youth mental health crisis, teach people about the early warning signs of pediatric mental illness, and decrease the stigma surrounding mental illness and its treatments. To watch this presentation, tune into NCM Town Channel in the upcoming weeks. Also, last week, a lucky patron hit big at a local convenience store. Linda Masad of Wapple is the 37th $1 million prize winner in the Massachusetts State Lottery's The Fastest Road to $1 Million instant game. Masad chose the cash option on her prize and received a one-time payment of $650,000. Her winning ticket was purchased at Norwood News Bookstore, 683 Washington Street in Norwood. The store will receive a $10,000 bonus for its sale of the ticket. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.